Okay, welcome everybody to the webinar. We're officially recording now. I'm very excited to be with you tonight. And let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get right into this content. I am so excited to share this with you. Tonight's topic is how to create, lead, and motivate a profitable team without overwhelming or pushing people away. And well, you know me, I just like to talk. Let me just dive into this and we'll talk as we go. So here's my goal. My goal for this presentation: you'll learn how to lead your team so it will consistently grow and provide you with a profitable business. Two great things there. You'll feel like you have everything organized and under control. Some of you are like, no way, how's he going to do that? I'll do my best. And you'll have more time because you'll know exactly what to do. You'll feel great knowing your team is motivated, inspired, and ready to work the business. You'll feel more confident as a leader because you won't have to be pushy or bossy to get your team moving in the right direction. And if you stay to the end of the presentation, I do have a gift for you. My business partner, Mike Lopez, and I have put this together for you. It's the ultimate agenda for an engaging and motivating team call via Zoom. The ultimate agenda for an engaging and motivating team call via Zoom. I talk to so many leaders and I say, well, on your team calls, do you? And they say, well, you know, Eric, lately I've been struggling getting people to show up for the team calls, or people don't get excited about the team calls. There is a way to structure a team call so that it can be engaging and motivating. So this is our agenda. We've put it together for you. You guys can see exactly how to plan, and it's something that's duplicatable. You can hand to leaders as they grow their teams and say, here's how to structure your team call so that people really enjoy it. And then you'll be able to watch your attendance and participation go way up. So make sure you stay to the end and you'll get that extra gift. Let's talk about this presentation. Who is this for? And I know we've got a lot of people from all over the world here tonight. Primarily, we've made this presentation for network marketers and direct sellers. We've made it for leaders with large teams. We've made it with leaders who don't have a big team yet. We've made it for people new to the business or anyone in a position to lead others. This is also for people who don't think of themselves as a leader, people who are not bossy. And if you're tired of the daily grind and you're ready to build a team that allows you to impact more lives, make more income, and work whenever, wherever, then this presentation's for you. So hopefully you're in the right place. So in the next 45 minutes, this is what you'll learn: how to build a group of recruits into a team. Build a group of recruits into a team. Very few network marketers are doing this. And I know we have a lot of bootcamp alumni on here. I saw the names. A lot of you have been through my boot camps. We've helped you recruit. Now I'm going to help you, teach you how to turn those recruits into a team. We're also going to teach you how to lead your team in such a way that they want to follow you. Lead your team in such a way that they want to follow you. And most leaders do miss this. Also, the best way to motivate people without being bossy. And this one may surprise you. Okay, the best way to motivate people without being bossy. And this one may surprise you. Okay. And finally, how to become the leader you were made to be, grow your downline fast, help them succeed, and be the team they want to join. All right. Couple of important reminders before we get started. I highly suggest you turn off your phone unless you're actually watching this webinar on your phone, in which case that won't work. But we just want to eliminate some distractions because we do have a lot to cover tonight. Make sure you're taking notes. What you'll learn, you'll want to apply. Okay, what you'll learn, you'll want to apply. And I know a lot of you have been through my training, so you're probably already ready for that. And also post questions or observations in the Q&A. So if questions arise, post them in there as we go. If something hits you like a ton of bricks in a good way, post it, share with us. Oh my gosh, this really hit me, or this resonated with me. And I'll go through all the questions and observations and ahas at the end. And that'll be a lot of fun. Some of you guys know that's the best part of the whole training. So a little bit about me, for those who haven't met me, my name is Eric Johnson. I help busy network marketers build their businesses. I've been a professional business coach for over 20 years. And I'm also the founder of Teamzy, a top CRM with over 150,000 network marketing users. I've had the opportunity to train over 150,000 direct sellers from top companies like Rodan and Fields, Beachbody, Juice Plus, Isagenix, Plexus, Lavelle, Unique, Singular, and many, many, many more. If I had more room, I'd list more. And my story here. Now, some of you guys know my story about why Teamzy came to be, but I want to talk to you a little bit about leadership because this is so important today. I wanted to figure out how to lead people so they would follow, right? How to lead people so they would follow, how to help bring out the best in people and my team, and how to get consistent, amazing results. And this has been an area of passion for me. And I know well, hopefully you guys will get that. I don't need to talk much more about that. You'll figure that out just from my presenting tonight. but I'm about to teach you what took over 20 years to learn. And I learned this by coaching thousands of business owners, learning from amazing mentors, through building dozens of teams, reading tons of books, taking many classes, and by building my own multi-million-dollar company. Given the time, I'm sure you could figure it all out yourself too. But instead, I'm going to make it easy for you and just give you my foolproof system. So you're going to get the fruits of my labor. And for full credit, also my business partner, co-founder of Teamzy, Mike Lopez's labor too, because a lot of this content is brainstormed between the two of us. One warning though, I just want to warn you that what I'll show you does go against what is most commonly taught in direct sales and elsewhere too. Okay, so we're going to be a little countercultural tonight. Also, it will most likely contradict what you've heard from your upline leaders, and I'll explain why that is in a minute. They may even warn you not to reinvent the wheel as you try to implement some of these systems. First radical thing I want to tell you today is this, is that leadership is an act of love. And many of you have heard me train on why following up is an act of love. And it's so funny because Mike asked me a couple of weeks ago, can you make a list on the whiteboard of all the things you consider an act of love? Which, by the way, that's a future training, going to be a great one. But a huge one is leadership. Leadership is an act of love. And I have to say that I can maybe count on one hand how many leaders I've encountered in my life who this has been their philosophy, which is why this is so rare what I'm going to be teaching guys tonight. I love this quote from Mr. Mike Lopez himself, co-founder of Teamzy. He says, whatever exists in our world, good or bad, is because of leadership. Isn't that interesting? Whatever exists in our world, good or bad, is because of leadership. Think about that one for a second. And so I want you guys just to have a realistic appraisal of this moment in time. And that's this. The state of your business right now is a reflection of your leadership right now. Okay? Good or bad, right? The state of your business right now is a reflection of your leadership right now. Now, here's the great news. This is really important to understand. Great leaders are not born, they are made. Great leaders are not born, they are made. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble with my presentation. There you go. They are not born, they are made, which means everything I'm teaching you guys, you can learn, you can implement. Okay. So that's one of the things I love with. So let's just kind of go through some of the things we're looking to improve. Do you struggle with these things? Getting people excited and on board with the vision. Finding qualified people who want to build the business. Putting in the, I almost could feel people saying amen on that one. Putting in the work to recruit just to see people quit. Putting in the work to recruit just to see people quit. Getting people to do anything seems like a chore. Can you guys relate to these? Yeah. And having to rebuild your team every year. Having to rebuild your team every year. Those of you with big teams know how this feels, right? Know how the struggle is real. So how are we supposed to build our business? How are we supposed to build our business when it's like constantly trying to fill a bucket with a huge hole at the bottom, right? This is the question. But what if this business could be different? What if you could become a leader who motivates and inspires their downline to the top, who attracts other leaders to your organization, creates a culture where people rarely quit and keeps their team productive and gets things done? What if, what if? So let's just talk about the way leadership is taught in our industry, the old school approach. Now, full disclosure, this slide said the wrong approach till about 15 minutes ago. And then I decided wrong was a little too judgy. Let's just change it to old school. But now you know how I feel about it. The old school approach to leadership in this industry is, first of all, the business is based on go for no, right? Go for no. And many of you guys have heard me talk about that idea that you are going to be going for, tons of rejection to find those few people, right? You're going to be looking for those diamonds. And so you figure it's okay if I blast 100 people and 97 of them reject me, I got 3 yeses, that's a win. Now, many of you have heard me teach on that. Like, to me, that sounds like my worst nightmare, because I don't like to be rejected. And I don't think go for no doesn't fit my philosophy, doesn't fit my integrity, doesn't fit who I am. Here's the truth about the go for no approach to the business, is that only about 3% of the world are wired in such a way to be able to do that. And since our entire industry has been built on that philosophy, it means that only about 3% of the people you might talk to might be quote unquote diamonds. And so our whole industry is geared towards digging for diamonds. Oh, we're going to find the diamonds. I just need to find that one runner, that one person that is going to bring my business in. You guys see where I'm going with this? So that's, they're so rare. I got to prepare for a lot of rejection, but it's going to be worth it because when I find that diamond, does this make sense? How many of you guys, this sounds familiar to maybe what you've been taught? Then the question is, okay, you get into it. And most of us can do this for a time before we get burnt out, right? But it's hard to keep going. It's hard to keep going. But then at a point, you ask yourself the question after being rejected dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times, you start to ask yourself this question. Wait, am I a diamond? What if I'm not a diamond? Right? I believe that this question is why the turnover rate in our industry is more than 50% a year. Because people get in here, they try this, they're not wired for it, they hate the rejection, they don't find any diamonds, and they come to one important realization. I'm not one of those people either. So I can't be successful. I may as well quit. So let's talk about the new school approach, which, by the way, full disclosure, is actually very old school approach, right? Maybe about 2,000 years old for those of you guys who are tracking with me. But let's talk about the new school approach. The idea that business is based on relationship marketing, which means that 97% of people can do this. 97% of people can build relationship-based businesses because now you're not going for no, you're going for yes. And that's a whole nother training. I've done a million of those. You guys look those up on the Teamzy YouTube. But 97% of the people can do the business. What does that mean? It means everyone can be successful. I don't have to dig for diamonds. I don't have to look for something rare. I'm looking at people who are amazing, wonderful, created beings, right? Every single person can be successful doing relationship marketing, which means instead of digging for diamonds, well, first of all, the question is, am I a diamond? Doesn't matter. I can learn to be a great leader. Leaders are not born, they're made. So everyone can be successful. Anyone can learn to be a great leader. I'm not digging for diamonds. I'm a diamond factory. I'm a diamond factory. And what I want you guys to get from tonight's training is the understanding that not only can you be successful in this business, you can learn to be a great leader and you can create other great leaders. You can become a diamond factory. Does it make sense? Okay. Just remember, when it comes to leadership, you have no leverage. Now, I would say 99% of quote unquote leaders in our world use leverage to lead. They use leverage, which is kind of like power over us. But you are leading a team of volunteers, so you have no leverage. What does this mean? It means you're not their boss. You're not their boss. You're not their commanding officer. You're not their parent. They do not have to follow you. Make sense? You have no leverage. They don't have to follow you. They have to want to follow you. They have to want to follow you. Oh, I went too far again. There it is. Boom. They must want to follow you. Just keep this in mind. Most of our experience with leadership is based on rank. It's based on position. It's based on authority. And you don't have those in our business, right? You could have been a senior vice president at a Fortune 500 company or CEO. But it's different when you're leading volunteers. Good friend of mine, oh my gosh, this just popped in my head. Commander in the United States Navy, 30 years, amazing leader, right? Served all over the place, had hundreds of people under his command at any given moment. And coming into a situation like this, he was a fish out of water because he couldn't understand why people didn't do what he told them to do, even if it was a good idea, right? Does this make sense? Some of you guys can relate to this. They must want to follow you. Tonight, I'm going to share with you 3 leadership secrets. Okay, 3 leadership secrets. Most people in this industry don't know. Actually, most people don't know. It's so funny because when Mike and I were looking at content, some of the things I'm going to teach you are second nature to us. And I thought, should we do that? And he said, how many people do you know who do this? And in our work experience, I said, well, the only people I know who do this are you and me and the people we've mentored. Right? So I'm going to give you guys 3 secrets. Hopefully you guys can take these, become part of that mentored group, and then share it forward, create other leaders with this same principle. So the first secret is this. What do the top 1% of leaders do to build their recruits into a team? What do the top 1% of leaders do to build their recruits into a team? And I have to tell you guys, through our consulting work, we've worked with a lot of companies and businesses where, they bring people on, they say they're part of the team, but they're not functioning as a team. Same thing's true in our business. We recruit people, but it doesn't mean we're functioning as a team. So let's talk about this a little bit. First point is this: building a team starts with heart. Surprise, Eric Johnson's going to teach us about heart. You guys know me. You love me, hopefully. I love you. Building a team starts with heart. This is where you've got to start. Because if you don't have your heart in the right place, anything I teach you is going to be manipulation. But when your heart's in the right place, things I teach you become systems to help other people improve. Does this make sense? Okay. So I'm going to just quickly go over this, the 3 heart sets of true leadership. And I wish I had time to go into a lot of depth on this. I don't. So I'm just going to kind of give you guys some pieces of this for you to just think about and contemplate on your own. But the 3 heart sets of true leadership. The first one is a heart that serves, a heart that serves. So you've heard about the term mindset, right? Like get your mindset right. So now we're going to get our heart set right. We're going to set our heart with intention. The first is the heart that serves, that serves. And behind this is the whole concept of servant leadership. I don't have time to get too deep into that tonight, y'all, but a leader has to serve their team. One of my favorite books on leadership is by Simon Sinek, and it's called The Leader. A Leader Always Eats Last. Have you got Leaders Eat Last? I think is the title. Leaders Eat Last. Have you guys read that book? It's amazing. If you haven't read it, put it on your list. It's great. There's a whole thing in the middle where he goes into all the hormones and stuff that make us like that part. You could probably skip unless you're into that. But the point is, a leader always eats last means that the leader serves their team. It's coming from a heart of service, right? Taking care of them, putting them first. So the first heart is a heart that serves. And you guys know when I talk about dealing with customers and prospects, same thing. We serve first, right? We serve first. The second heart set is the heart that helps. The heart that helps. And this is specific. How can I lift this person up? How can I help them improve? How can I help them get to the next level? Right? It's a heart that helps is looking for opportunities to lift up, to raise up team members. Right? A heart that helps. My brother-in-law, Art Sherwin, who's an amazing person and such an inspiration to me, he told me years and years ago when I was a very young man, he was telling me about his success, and he's been a successful coach in just about every sport, and also a teacher, high school teacher for many, many years. And he said, my philosophy is simple. When I interact with another human being, my goal is to make them feel taller, not smaller. Make them feel taller, not smaller. And he has lots of ways he does that, the way he lifts people and builds them up. And I love that, taller, not smaller. I think that's such a great concept. And I think that encapsulates so much what it means to have a heart that helps, right? A heart that helps, lifts people up. And the last heart that I want to talk to you about is a heart that loves. A heart that loves. And when I say love, I don't mean a feeling or emotion. I just want you guys to understand it's not a fuzzy, warm feeling. That's not love. Love is action. Love is action. Does this make sense? How can you, what actions do you take to show love for other people? There's many times when you're not feeling warm and fuzzy about somebody, but you make a decision to love them anyways. Does it make sense? So that's an important piece. There's going to be team members on your team you don't feel warm, fuzzy emotion for, but you can still decide to be loving towards them. And this is the key piece to having the heart of the team. Does it make sense? A heart that serves, that helps, that loves. By the way, when you model these heart sets, guess what? You attract people like this to your team, and you create a culture on your team like this. Make sense? Okay. The bottom line is your team needs to feel safe. Your team needs to feel safe. Now, just think about any place that you've been where you've been in a part of a toxic team, or you've had toxic team members, maybe at work, maybe in sports teams, maybe in organizations, maybe at church, whatever. And if you look at the, if you really step back and look at that toxic situation, what you're going to find are people who don't feel safe. And when people don't feel safe, you guys ever heard the term like, most dangerous animal is a cornered or wounded animal, right? Why? Because they don't feel safe. Same thing with people. People need to feel safe or else they act out, right? So first of all, they need to know my leader has my back. My leader has my back. If your team doesn't believe that you have their back, they're not going to follow you. If they think that you would throw them under the bus, in order to help yourself, they're not going to follow you. Does this make sense? They need to know you have their back. They need to know it. They know that that my leader invests in building me up. My leader invests in building me up. It's not just, hey, I got your back, you can trust me. You got to show them. You have to show them, right? You have to demonstrate how you're building it. When they see you investing in them, time, energy, passion, education, encouragement, accountability, coaching. These are ways to invest in people and build them up. Does this make sense? And one of the things I'm going to talk about today, and I don't have time to go deep into specifics, but whenever I give you guys something like this, investing in them, you have to think systems. You have to think systems. It's not just good enough to have a philosophy that I help. It's like, what's a system that makes me help consistently across team members so that I don't miss anybody, so that I'm consistent, so that over time I can build trust. Does this make sense? And the next piece is my leader cares about me as a person. My leader cares about me as a person. Most leaders care about team members, at least up to the extent they need them to be successful. I need all my team members in order for myself to be successful, but they don't know if you care about them as a person. And I once had a leader in my business who didn't treat everybody the same. Right? He seemed to care more for people who were performing than others, right? And it was clear. It was clear that if you wanted attention, you had to be, right? And there is a place for investing more time in people who are putting in more work. But this point, you care about me as a person, is huge. And you'll notice great leaders, they care about every person in the organization, from the lowliest to the highest. Make sense? So this is important. You got to care about people as a person. I love this visual, the difference between personal gain as your motivation and helping others as your motivation. The personally gained, the motivated by personal gain leader, they say things like this: you need to do it my way because I'm the leader. Right? You need to do it my way because I'm the leader. And my team's not motivated because I have the wrong people. Must be the wrong people. Versus a leader whose motivation is helping others might say, I will do whatever I can to help you be successful. I'll put your needs ahead of mine. I'll put your needs ahead of mine. And I don't mean that you are selfless to the point of self-destruction. You guys understand what I mean. They need to know that you are not going to run off for your own interest and put them under. Make sense? Okay. This feeling of safety will free your team to come together in community. Once they feel safe and you set the tone for that safety, right, through the things we just talked about, it frees your team to come together in community. And what does this mean? It means now we're not threatened by other team members. We're not threatened, right? So we don't have to act out. We don't have to undermine. We don't have to get crazy competitive. All the things that you get petty. You guys have seen people do this stuff. We can work together towards common goals. Now we can work together towards common goals. And this is the best part. We want to help our leader. What happens when your leader is selfless and loving and caring and helpful? You want to help them back, don't you? Now think about a leader who inspires you and how much you have such a desire to help them. In fact, there's at least 50 of you on this call tonight who are here to support me. And I thank you for that. Thank you, guys. I mean, I'm sure you're here because you know you're going to get some good nuggets, but honestly, I know a lot of you are here because you want to help me and you're here. So thank you guys for being here. And this is important, you guys, because this is how you get the help of your team. You can't beat them into submission and say, you must help me so we can achieve these goals. I want to be top of the company. Let's go. You help them and they want to help back. This is the law of reciprocation. Law of reciprocation. So some application points on this piece. And I know this first piece is a little bit philosophical. In fact, some of my Teamzy team said, Eric, it's too philosophical. You need to get more practical. But you guys know sometimes we got to get that philosophy part nailed down first. But some things that you can do is communicate your heart sets to your team. Communicate your heart sets to your team and look for ways to reinforce them. right? How can I communicate that I care? How can I communicate that I am helpful, that I want to lift you up? How can I communicate that I'm here to serve? And think of ways to do it, right? Think of systems that you can do, right? It might be something as simple as writing a handwritten birthday card every time they have a birthday. That's one way. And there's just a million little systems you can do that reinforce those. Also, next point, be careful to put the needs of your team ahead of your own, even in the small things. Be careful to put the needs of your team ahead of your own, even in the small things. Look, people are looking at the small things, right? For example, today we started at exactly at 5 o'clock, right? We started exactly at 5 o'clock, even though after 5 o'clock, another 60 people joined the webinar. Should I have, I could have waited and made all of you who are on time wait because I wanted a bigger audience. But instead, I wanted to make sure I honored you guys who were here early. Does this make sense? So it's the little tiny things that you do that show people that it's not about you, it's about them. It's about honoring them. It's about helping them. Does it make sense? Okay. Look for opportunities to stick up for your team members. Look for opportunities to stick up for your team members. Okay. And there's lots of situations where you can do this. Sometimes it's with corporate, it's with compliance. Sometimes it's with an upline leader. Sometimes it's with customers. Maybe maybe something's happening on social media. Just look for ways you can help them and you can stick up for them so they know you have their back. And seek out opportunities to help team members succeed. Invest time, energy, and love in their success. And we'll talk a little bit about this in a little bit. I'll give you a few examples, but specifically, one of the things that I hope you get from this is the need to create systems. If my goal is to help every team member succeed, what are the systems? What are the things they need from me to do that, right? And systemize it so that it's equivalent throughout the team, that you're loving everybody and helping everybody. Okay. And remember, building a team starts with heart. Building a team starts with heart. Okay, you guys got all that? Let's get into the second secret. Secret number 2, the number one thing that makes people want to follow you. Everyone's like, just give it to us so we can go. The number one thing that makes people want to follow you. Here it is. Leadership depends on trust. Now, how many times have you guys heard me say relationship marketing depends on trust? So does leadership. Even more so. Even more so. It depends on trust. It's a very simple concept. If you want your team to follow you, they must trust you. And for them to trust you, you must earn that trust, right? You must earn that trust. We don't start out at a trust and it's it's ours to lose. No, we have to earn it every step of the way. Okay. And if some of you guys, if you caught my videos on Facebook last week, I gave a little tiny preview of this concept. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it today. Man, I wish I had 5 hours. I could go really deep on it, but I'm going to give you as much as I can in the time we have. But just keep in mind that when your team trusts, the work is fun. The work's fun. When they trust you, the work's fun because you don't have to convince them. You get right to helping them. It's pretty cool. We've done, I don't even know, I've lost count how many boot camps we've done. Alicia, you can tell me. I know you're on this call. You've been to most of them. I think it's like 13 or 14 boot camps that we've done. In the beginning, it was like we were telling people, listen to us because you're going to like what you hear. Now we've done so many. It's like, we're not here to convince you this works. We've done this so many times. We know it works, right? People come into our boot camps. They know it's going to work because so many people have done it and had great results. And so we don't have to spend time convincing. We get right to work, get right to helping. This is what's going to happen in your team. As you earn their trust, new people come on, there's trust already. There's a community. There's like a culture of trust. Boom. You get right to helping the new people. It's great. Recruiting becomes much easier for you and your team when you've got this trust culture in your team. Recruiting becomes much easier. You'll see a lot less turnover. You'll see a lot less turnover, right? Reducing turnover is as important as recruiting, isn't it? And your team will follow you even through challenging times. Your team will follow you even through challenging times. And we've seen so many things challenging this year. And I'm not just talking about lockdowns and social separation and fear and all that. I'm talking about real practical stuff. I know some of you guys had supply chain issues with your company this year where there was no product for months, right? There was no product. And so that's an example of a challenging time. You need your team to stick with the business and stick with you, and trust is what's going to pull you through stuff like that. Okay. And also, this is the best part, deep and lasting friendships will be formed. Deep and lasting friendships will be formed. Probably the best part of what we do, right? I mean, I'm grateful for every penny that I've earned in my business. I'm grateful for the life that most of you and people like you have provided for my family, but more so, I love the friendships. This is the best part of our business, right? Okay, so let's talk about this. How to build trust. There's 7 C's to build trust in leadership. Some of you guys have heard me teach the 4 C's of trust. This is for building customers and recruits. But in leadership, there's more. There's 7. 7's the number of completion, right? Perfection. 7. Here we go. Let's go through these quickly. And I don't have, like I said, I don't have time to go really deep, but I'm going to present the concepts to you guys. It's going to be enough for you to really contemplate on it and take some of this and run with it in your business. So there's 7 C's to build trust. The first one's chemistry. Number 2 is character. Number 3 is competence. Number 4 is commitment. Number 5 is consistency. Number 6 is camaraderie. And number 7 is community. Chemistry, character, competence, commitment, consistency, camaraderie, and community. Got those? Okay, let's dive into these. Chemistry is creating a connection with team members and building common ground for the team. Chemistry is creating a connection with team members and building common ground for the team. This is very important because people want to do business with friends. They want to feel connected to you as the leader. They want to feel connected to each other. And so this is something you need to think about intentionally as a leader, looking at your team and saying, how can we create a connection? First, one-on-one and then team-wide, and start thinking about different things you can do. And I could probably give you guys 10 things off the top of my head. I'll give you one example. One thing that you can do, one system you can implement to start this connection is, and maybe you already do this, so maybe I'm just going to kind of refine it a little, is make sure that whenever a new team member gets added to the team, that you schedule a Zoom or FaceTime, or if possible, a coffee date or something with them right away, okay? So that you can sit down and get to know them a little bit. And it's a great chance to set the expectations for the team and the business, let them know what to expect, what they need to be doing to be successful in the first couple of weeks, letting them know about any sort of bonus program, fast start bonus program you might have. But most importantly, it's time to get to know them. So make sure you have some questions ready so that you can get to know them a little bit, right? And I will tell you guys this, most people don't find other people interested in hearing about them. So when you listen and ask questions and are interested in somebody, it makes a huge impact in them. It really does. It really does. So building chemistry is the first thing. So there's one thing you can do is you can have a structured and intentional intro call. Make sure you get face-to-face. If you can't get in person, then do a Zoom or a FaceTime. Make sure you can see each other's face, okay, when you do it. Okay. Number 2, character. Character is when you demonstrate how much you care for your team. Character is when you demonstrate how much you care for your team. And this is important too, is you need to find ways to systemize care. You need to find ways to systemize care. So in the beginning, we talked about having a heart for it, get your heart in the right place. Now we need systems, right? What are things that you can do to demonstrate care? And I threw out earlier, writing a birthday card. Hey, not everyone does that consistently. That would be a great thing to show care. One example of ways you can do this one-on-one with people on your team is celebration posts on social media, is, celebrating them when they hit a milestone, or even when they just join your team, just doing a post where you tag them and celebrate them and make a big deal out of them. Let them know how proud of them you are, how excited you are for them. Those things go a long ways. And if you consistently do it, it's pretty cool. People are like, wow, I love that she does that for her team. Does it make sense? Okay. Competence. Competence is when you demonstrate you're good at what you do and you're a leader. Competence is when you demonstrate you're good at what you do and you're a leader. So people need to know you're competent. They need to know that they can come to you. They need to know that you're available to them. They need to know that you are a font of knowledge when it comes to your products and your comp plan and your company. And many of you have heard me say this, if you're not a font of knowledge, you need to get into the books and learn, right? You need to learn everything about your products, everything about your comp plan. You need to get in there and learn. I remember when years ago, and a lot of you guys know Mike Lopez, my good buddy and co-founder of Teamzy. For many years, he was my boss, and he used to ask me questions like, "What industry magazines are you reading?" Like he wanted to know that I was investing in knowledge in our industry. Does it make sense? So you guys need to be focused on that. And the other piece is, are you a leader? I mean, they didn't need to know you're a competent leader. One of my favorite TV shows ever, actually a miniseries, is the Band of Brothers. Has anyone watched the Band of Brothers? Now, you might not be into war. It's a war series, but it's an incredible. It's just my favorite series because it's just about normal, average people who band together to overcome incredible odds. And one of the recurring themes in the story is leadership. And there's both terrible leaders and there are great leaders. And if you read the book, which is much better than the series, they really talk about the leaders and how challenging it was for them to follow into battle leaders they felt were incompetent. Because that's life or death, right? If you follow an incompetent leader into battle, you're likely to get killed. They felt like this person was going to get them killed. And then when they had a leader who they felt was amazing, they would do anything. They could overcome anything. They could go, with that person. So it's important, guys. Competence. They need to know that you're good at what you do and that you're a leader. One thing that you can implement in your business to show and demonstrate competence is to create a structured training program for new people. Create a structured training program for new people. Maybe your company already has something that you can put a personal twist on and guide people through. Make sense? So that's one thing you can do. And again, that shows that you know what you're doing and it shows that you're a good leader. Okay. Next piece is commitment. Number 4 is commitment. This is dedicating yourself completely to your vision. Dedicating yourself completely to your vision. If you're not fully engaged and committed, how can you expect people to follow you? And some of you really need to hear this right now. If this is your side hustle, it's your hobby, and you're treating it like a hobby, you've got one toe in the water, you're not giving it your full attention, but then you show up for a team call and you expect everybody to sit down with their hands crossed, folded, and listen to you, the great leader. And they're like, yeah, right. She's barely engaged in this, or he's barely engaged in this. Sorry if I keep using female examples. You guys get it though. You can't be a hobbyist and expect people to follow you. Now, you can be part-time and still be fully committed. Does this make sense? It's not about how much time you put in. It's about the level of commitment. Are you committed? Are you committed to this? Are you all the way committed, full heart, full soul, full effort, right, into the business? And if you're not, I really recommend that you take some time for some introspection and figure out why you're not. But understand, until you can be fully committed, your team's not going to follow. Make sense? They're not going to trust you as the leader. Number 5 is consistency. The most important thing is consistency. It's why I keep telling you to have systems. Systems help you be consistent. None of us are naturally consistent. We need help, but being consistent means you are dependable. Being consistent means you are dependable. By the way, being inconsistent means you're unpredictable. Which would you rather be seen as, dependable or unpredictable? Make sense? So we got to be consistent. And the best way to do this is just by example. Are you doing the things you expect your team to do? This whole do what I say, not what I do thing, that doesn't work for anybody. It doesn't work for our kids. It doesn't work for our teams. If you know what it takes to be successful, for example, doing a power hour daily in Teamzy, reaching out, connecting with people, building relationships systematically, and you know that's what you need to do, and you tell your team that's what you need to do, but you're not doing it, why are they going to do it? If you've been lucky because you're an engaging, well-networked person and you had some early success without being consistent or having systems, and now you're kind of hit a plateau and you realize that you need to get to systems and you're trying to teach that, but you haven't implemented them yet, who's going to follow you? Does this make sense? So you need to lead by example. You want people to be consistent. You got to be consistent. And some of you leaders that are watching this tonight are thinking, he's right. I've been in management mode and I haven't been doing the activities I want my team doing. Right now, you don't need to be at the same level. Look, some of you have built a beautiful income. And you don't have to be prospecting 20 people a day at your level, but you should still be reaching out to a few a day, a couple, right? You keep one oar in the water, churning it up a bit. Make sense? Being consistent. because Lord knows if you sent out 20 messages, you would never, those of you guys who are already at that level, you would probably get 100% response and then you'd be overwhelmed. So just do a few a day, keep consistent. Okay. Number 6, camaraderie. I have to train myself to say it correctly because I would want to take out one syllable. Camaraderie is mutual trust and friendship among people who invest a lot of time together. By the way, that originally this said spend a lot of time together, but if any of you have been through training with Mr. Lopez, he talks about never waste or spend time, always invest it. Right? That's another training, but never spend or waste time, always invest it. So camaraderie, mutual trust and friendship among people who invest a lot of time together. This is a key component. Camaraderie is an important, it's a crucial piece to building a team culture, building a high performance team. And the only way to do it is to invest time together. So as a leader, you got to bring people together. I know it has been a challenge with COVID lockdowns and all that stuff and restrictions, but they're lifting now. It's time to get people together, right? Get people to conventions, get people to weekend getaways, get people to coffee, get your local people together, right? Go bowling together, whatever you can do, go to a park, go to the beach, anything. The most, and my favorite part about building camaraderie, the easiest and most effective way to build camaraderie is to break bread together. Have a meal, have a coffee, have a snack, break some bread, figure out how you can get everybody together to do that. Okay. But camaraderie is a huge piece of it. And you guys know, some of you love your team so much. It's the best part of your business is that camaraderie, right? But you got to be intentional about this. It doesn't happen by accident. You got to say, okay, I got to look at my calendar and I got to plan some events. I got to put people together. I got to connect people, right? I need to, all the things you're learning in those intro calls about people. And now you have something to connect other people on a team together. Hey, did you know Eric is into this too, or whatever? Okay. Camaraderie doesn't happen by accident. You got to be intentional about building it. Number 7 is community. Community is a group of people who feel a sense of belonging and fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Community is a group of people who feel a sense of belonging and fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. As you build trust, as you implement systems in all 7 C's, community is the goal. Community is where you're headed towards, is creating community in your team. Okay. And this is important because the community reinforces everything that we've been talking about. Not only that, when you have a strong sense of community, you will see that the team grows quicker and retains better. Okay. Better growth, better retention. Feels good, right? That's because you have built loyalty. So loyalty results in higher growth and lower retention. So community breeds loyalty. It's pretty cool. Okay. And it spills into your customer base too, which is awesome. That whole feeling is there. It's really cool. All right. You got those, the 7 C's of building trust. Now, I know that you guys know I want to go way deeper and teach you way more on those 7 C's. I don't have time tonight, but I hope that was a nice piece of meat for you to chew on tonight. And just keep in mind, if you want your team to follow you, they must trust you. And for them to trust you, you must earn that trust. Okay, secret number 3, the best way to motivate people without being bossy. Secret number 3, the best way to motivate people without being bossy. Duh, I love this. I had a picture of Captain Obvious and I like, duh. Okay, this is an obvious thing, right? To motivate them, find out what motivates them. To motivate them, find out what motivates them. But a lot of people don't do, they think that like, oh, well, I need to use action words and power verbs and all this stuff that people teach. Just find out what motivates them, what makes them tick. Okay. And how do you do this? Help them uncover their why. I haven't had a chance to teach on this in a long time. Many of you guys are Teamzy family, and so you know that the why is part of the dashboard in Teamzy. But I want to kind of bring you guys through this as a leader, helping each individual member of the team uncover their why. And this is something that when we talked about that intro call, when you sit down with them, this is something you can work on that call. Often what people think they want is too shallow and won't actually motivate them. Okay. Often what people think they want is too shallow, won't actually motivate them. When I joined the business, I wanted to make an extra $500 a month. And if nobody had dug into that, I'm sure I would have quit because that's not really compelling. Does this make sense? But that's what I used to justify signing up. Oh yeah. I said, do you think I could make $500 a month? Yeah, you could do that, Eric. Okay, great. I'll sign up. It was enough to get me to sign up. It's not enough to get me motivated. Do you see the difference? Okay. The why is the deep emotional motivation that drives them. Their why is the deep emotional motivation that drives them. How many of you guys right now, honestly, can look at your team and say, I know what the emotional why is for each of these people? Probably not. Maybe a couple, but you need to really get into this. This needs to be something that you know as a leader, okay? Because no one can be on fire without their why. There's no one that can be on fire without their why. Okay. And that's what we want is people on fire, right? Okay. So let's just go through this really quickly. It's very simple. I'm going to give you some questions to ask. You guys can take a picture of this slide or write it down, but make sure you have these questions. You take somebody through this process of finding their why. It's like an interview process, right? And there's no, just let them know there's no right or wrong answers. Just tell me what you think, just what's coming up, and we'll go through this. Okay. So why'd you become a distributor? Why'd you sign up? What made you do it? Write it down. What did you hope to achieve when you signed up? Why? So for me, it was, I wanted to make $500 a month. Why? Why $500 a month? Ask them. They give you an answer. Why? Why that? I don't know. I don't know why. Right? So as soon as they don't know why, then I got to look deeper. Why is it important to you? Why is it important to you? What would you achieve? What would achieving that mean to you and your family? What would achieving that mean to you and your family? Okay. How would you feel if you achieved that? How would you feel if you achieved that? By the way, you could always ask the negatives too. How would you feel if you didn't achieve that? How would you feel if you didn't achieve that? And you could ask the word why in between each one of these. Why? 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 Just keep asking them. And sometimes you get to this, how would you feel if you achieved that? Then you might need to start over again. You need to go back in and go, okay, great. Perfect. Why would you feel that way? Okay, great. What would you hope to achieve next? Like you could just keep going deeper. Does this make sense? But the important thing is to take them through this process so they can figure out what it is that really matters. For me, I went from wanting to make $500 a month to realizing I was missing out on my children growing up. I wasn't spending enough time with my wife. I was terrified of getting laid off and fired from my job again because of another economic downturn and letting my family down. 10 minutes I got there from not knowing to, wow, that's powerful. Does this make sense? This is so huge. And you guys need to understand your people's why. So once you have it, what do you do with it? What do you do with their why? I'm just going to give you some application points. First, save it to the notes on their record in Teamzy. Save it to the notes on the record in Teamzy. Every time you look at them in Teamzy, you should be reading their why statement and really getting to know their motivation. Make sense? Also, ask them when they have it, ask them to share it on a team call. Say, hey, are you comfortable sharing your why on the team call? And so, you get to a point where people are sharing their why every week on your team calls. A new person who hasn't shared is sharing their why. First of all, it's going to help other people get there. It's going to motivate and excite other people. But it's huge for them to say it out loud and share it with a group, because every person you share your why with is another layer of accountability. It literally imprints your subconscious mind to work on this. This makes sense? So you want them to share it far and wide. And every time you have a coaching or mentoring meeting with them, read them their why to them. Read them their why. And you can just ask them, hey, and according to my records, your why is this, and read it out. Is that still pretty accurate? Has it changed? Has it morphed at all? Let me know so I can keep it updated. So just bringing that conversation up makes sense, because if you start a conversation with their why and they had a bunch of bull hockey, I was trying to say nice words, excuses for why they haven't worked or whatever, like all that stuff evaporates, because now you're focused on the why again. And it's like, okay, we can skip the excuse part. Let's talk now about what we're going to do to get back on track for your why. Make sense? And then ask them the simple question: what are you doing today to bring your why into reality? What are you doing today to bring your why into reality? Okay. And then finally, bring them back to their why when their motivation's lacking. Bring them back to their why and their motivation's like, hey, remember when we talked about your why and you told me that you felt like you were missing your kids growing up. You told me you were terrified of getting laid off from your job, so you wanted to create an independent source of income. You said you wanted to invest more time with your marriage, spending more time with your wife. Of course, that's my wife, but you get the idea. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, I'm bringing it up because I can tell your motivation seems kind of lagging. I want to bring you back to that why and remind you that the actions you take today are either moving you towards it or away from it. Does it make sense, you guys? So this becomes a very powerful tool for you to help motivate people, Okay. All right. So I did pretty good. I got pretty close to 45 minutes, which, you guys know how much I like to talk. That's pretty good. So let's talk about the past 45 minutes. Would you agree it's been time well spent? Has this been helpful? I hope I brought a ton of value for you guys. Now, I want you guys to know this is the most difficult presentation I've ever built because there's so much more I wish I could have taught you. It's funny because right before I came on tonight, a couple of you guys messaged me and I got a message from Suzanne that said, have a great, good luck tonight. I was like, I just finished writing it because I couldn't decide what to put in, what not to put in. There's so much more that I want to teach you guys. And as you imagine, I couldn't cover everything you need in a 1-hour webinar. Even if I had all day long, I couldn't cover everything I need to teach you everything that's on my heart to teach you about leadership. So what's next? How do I implement what I just learned? What do we do with these little nuggets you just gave us, Eric? Well, you got a couple options. One is you follow the old school approach of searching for diamonds and hoping that you yourself are a diamond. Is there anybody who's going to go after that technique? Option number 2, you can go it alone. This is what I did. Spend hundreds of hours trying to create your own systems to apply what I've taught you today. And some of you are already doing that, which is great. Or number 3, learn a proven system and leverage ready-made tools for creating, leading, and motivating profitable team, and learn from somebody who's not only done it, but mastered it. So I want to let you guys know, I want to offer myself to you. I want to help you guys go deeper in leadership and learn more about how to be a great leader. Do you guys mind if I show you what we've put together for you? Is that okay? Let me see your raise the hand button. Let me see if you guys are in. Okay, cool. Good. Oh, all right. You guys covered my whole screen. It's all good. I love you guys too. Okay, so let's talk about Teamzy Lead. Teamzy Lead. I want to introduce this to you guys. It's a complete leadership development program designed to help you build a winning team. And some of you guys have been through our training programs. You know the quality that we like to put out for our training programs. And I would like to say this might be the best one we've done yet. Definitely a passion project. So let me kind of break this down what's going to happen with Lead. It's a 4-week step-by-step action plan to learn how to motivate, inspire, and promote action on your team, how to improve your leadership skills so your team grows quickly, attract other leaders to your team. That's a huge one. Bring out the best in others and bring in the results, communicate effectively, and lead your team with confidence, and lead a large team without being hair on fire, busy all the time. And also multiply yourself and implement systems to give you flexibility. Systems, right? That's the key. And what does this include? It includes 9 training videos, clear action plans, and workbooks all the way through. Okay. And some of you guys follow me on social. You know that we just wrapped shooting a couple weeks ago here. We had the full crew, the lighting crew, the sound crew. It was awesome. We got all this in the bag. It came out amazing. All right. So let me just take you through the content. Some of you, I don't want this to be a mystery. I'm going to tell you exactly what we're going to teach you in Lead. Week 1 is about heart-led leadership. You got a little taste of that, a little sampling of this tonight. But we're going to go deeper into how to get your heart set right for great leadership. You're going to learn how to be a leader without being pushy or bossy. And we'll go deep into the 7 systems to build trust with your team. You will leave in all 7 C's with individual one-on-one systems and team-wide systems to implement. Week 2 is finding and building up leaders on your team. So we're going to show you how to create the vision for your team. We're going to teach you how to find and recruit leaders, right? This is the thing people always tell me, how do I find leaders? How do I find people who want to work the business? We'll teach you how to do it. And we're going to teach you how to set and achieve huge team goals. How many of you have a huge team goal? Yeah, we're going to show you specifically how to do it. And it's interesting because I've never seen anybody teach this before. I told Mike, I said, I really think we should teach on this. Nobody, Mike and I have been teaching people how to do huge goals for years as business consultants outside of network marketing, helping business leaders. We teach them how to set a goal and how to backward engineer it into what to do. This was exciting, creating this training on how to do this as a team. It's pretty cool. Week 3 is about getting control of your business once and for all. How many of you feel out of control sometimes? So week 3, we're going to teach you how to get control of your business once and for all. We'll teach you how to get organized and conquer overwhelm. Can I get an amen on that one? Yeah, we're going to help you conquer overwhelm. We're going to learn to plan your day for optimal performance. I'm even going to give you my personal roadmap for a quote unquote perfect day in the business. Okay. So we're going to teach you guys how to plan your day for optimal performance and how to take ownership of your business, how to take total ownership of your business, the good, bad, and the ugly. Okay, week 4, we're going to talk about unlocking your true potential for success and happiness. Because, guys, it's more than just being successful, right? It's about being happy, about being joyful, about loving what we do. So, we're going to talk about we're going to understand who can be motivated and who can't. It's important. We're going to learn the top 2 things that motivate people. We're going to teach you how to get out of your own way so you can lead. Anybody resemble that remark? Yeah. And so these trainings alone, if I were just to package these trainings, honestly, based on the amount of effort, the production value, the content, we would probably value these at about $680 just for the training videos and workbooks. Okay. Also, part of Lead, you'll get 2 live Q&A sessions with Eric and Mike. And I haven't talked much about Mike Lopez. Many of you know him personally through our other training programs, but he's amazing. He's a co-founder of Teamzy, my brother from another mother, my boss for many years, and one of my mentors. So he's going to be co-leading this with us. And one of the reasons why, well, the number one reason why I asked him to be a co-founder of Teamzy is because Mike is a leadership expert. And a lot of what I know about leadership, I learned by being mentored by Mike. And so you're going to get to talk to us live on Q&A sessions. So here's what we're going to do. Any questions you have, you'll get them answered quickly. We'll be there answering questions. You're going to have the independent eyes of professional business coaches on your business. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in a second about how specific that will be, which is pretty cool. You'll also get to learn from other great leaders in the group. These are, in our boot camps, the live Q&A sessions have been our favorite thing ever. And this one, focused on leadership, is going to be something special for sure. And also, you'll know what to do. You'll be able to keep your momentum. You'll never feel stuck because you'll have access to this live conversations. And if you were to call us up and ask us for a session like that, it would, be almost $2,000, $1,999, right? So there's a tremendous amount of value in these live sessions. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the comprehensive business assessment. And this is really cool. And this is something that Mike and I do in our consulting work. Okay. So if you hired us as a consultant, we would have you do a business assessment for you. And what this is going to do is you're going to provide vital information on your business for us. And that's going to allow Mike and I to customize our coaching for you. So when you ask a question on these live Q&As, we're going to know who you are. We're going to know your business. We're going to know how big your team is. We're going to know where you struggle. We're going to know where you're strong. And we're going to be able to bring all of that information to bear on how we answer and how we consult with you in that moment to answer your question. How cool is that? Right? Not only that, but just filling out this assessment is going to give you unbelievable vision into your own business. Okay. And also, this is a chance for us to get to know you personally, which is really, really awesome for us. And you'll leave this process understanding which metrics to track and measure going forward, right? It's going to show you kind of the baseline for your business now so that you understand exactly, you have a clear picture of where you're at. Mike used to call this the business X-ray, right? So it's like our way of knowing where you're at now so we can help you move forward. The next thing you'll get with Lead is you get to be part of the Leader Mastermind private Facebook group, the Leader Mastermind private Facebook group. This is incredible, right? And this is a place where you can share best practices, new ideas, awesome results, seek advice, and get to know other like-minded pros. These groups are amazing. You're going to meet people from all over the world, which is pretty cool. You'll also get daily tips from Mike and I. You'll get a chance to create long-term relationships with great leaders, and you'll have access to me, and you'll have access to Mike in the group on a daily basis. So if honestly, we could sell this group alone by itself for $1,000 just to be part of our Leader Mastermind, and it's part of the Lead program. And I'm also going to give you guys an early bird offer as well as part of this offering, and that is a bonus coaching Zoom with Mike and I if you register before April 21st. I know a lot of you guys are already excited about Lead. Some of you have already registered, which is cool. But if you register before the 21st, you'll get to be part of this extra Zoom with Mike and I. And on this particular call, we'll show you how to get the most out of the Lead program so you can really leverage it. We're going to also give you some additional training not offered in the course, right? You'll get additional training that's not offered in the course, and you'll be able to ask us anything, which is pretty cool. So again, the value for that time would be $1,000 outside of this, but you're going to get that just by registering April 21st. So here it is, the whole thing. Let's kind of break it down for you guys. Everything that you're going to need to build an incredibly profitable team. Let's go through what's included again. You've got the 4-week training videos with workbook, again, a $680 value, 2 live Q&A sessions with Eric and Mike, again, a $2,000 value, comprehensive business assessment, $400 value for that, leader mastermind private group, $1,000 value, the earlier bird bonus, another $1,000 value. The full value of all of this program, $5,076. Now, if we could help you to build the profitable team that you've been dreaming of, that's fun, that's heart-based, where you've got joy in your business, would it be worth $5,000? Probably a lot of you would say, yeah, it'd be worth $5,000. I would pay for that. Maybe you've already paid that much for leadership training. But I want you guys to know, of course, I'm not going to stick you at the full $5,000 bill. We're going to make this incredibly affordable for you. Not only do we want it to be affordable for you, but we want you to be able to bring some leaders into the program with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to slash that price out, and we're going to offer this program to you for $297. Those of you that are not in the United States, that's US dollars, $297 US dollars. Of course, it does require Teamzy subscription to have access to the program. So what an incredible value. 4 weeks of training, 2 live Q&As, comprehensive business assessment, part of the leader mastermind group. And if you act quickly, you get the additional Q&A session, $297. It's a great deal. I mean, if you guys break that down, it comes out to like, a Starbucks, a cup of coffee and a little pastry at Starbucks each day, right? Some of you guys do that already. Is that nourishing your business? Might not even actually be that nourishing, right? It might just be delicious. Okay. So if you're interested in joining us, here's the link, teamzy.com/lead, teamzy.com/lead. And I'm going to get into the Q&A in a second, so hang tight. I can't wait to see your questions and talk to you guys a little bit. But for those of you who are ready to go, teamzy.com/lead is the link. Super easy. Okay. So this leadership development is what I wish I had when I started out. It would have saved years and time with my family, not to mention made me a lot more money. Though I'm not really that money motivated. I like it though. I do like having money, right? But it is exciting. But here's the thing. If you do sign up for Lead before the webinar ends, I'm going to give you a huge bonus. I'm going to give you something else. Pretty cool. I'm going to give you something else. I'll do a private team call for you and your team. And some of you have had me do team calls for your team. So you know what a hero I'll make you. But I would love to do one for your team. So if you guys want to get signed up before we finish the webinar, those of you who are really interested, we'll add this into, and I'll come to your team via Zoom, just you guys, and it'll be a chance for me to inspire, energize, and re-engage your team. We'll teach them the basics, on how to work and how to connect and how to use Teamzy, of course, and really systemize their success. We'll help get your team on the same page. Those of you guys who have been trying to teach relationship marketing to them, let me come in and teach them. And they'll have an opportunity to ask me anything. I'll stay on with them. Some of you guys know I'll stay on as long as they have questions, and I will pour myself into your team. So value on that is $497. Again, if you sign up for Lead before we get done with the webinar, we'll set you up with a free team call from me. So you've got a couple choices. One, you can do nothing. Don't take the leap of faith, which by the way is 100% risk-free. Or the second option, invest this small amount today in yourself compared to the amount of value you're getting in return, and give it a shot. Just give it a shot. Those are your choices. Okay, so I just want you guys to know this. Lead is a passion project, not just for me, also for Mike. But I really want to help you build a motivated winning team. That's where my heart's at. I want to give you the tools to make you successful in 4 weeks. And I want to help you to become a true leader to your team. Here's what I will promise you. If you'll show up, I'll give you 100% of my heart and experience. You've got to show up though. I'm still going to give it to you, even if you don't show up, but I want you to show up and receive it. Okay. So again, bonus offer deadline, sign up before the webinar ends, and you get that private team call for you and your team. Let's jump into some questions. If you've got questions, I see we've got some loaded up. I know we've got the chat is berserk and I haven't been able to look at that. And I might not look at it. So if you put things in the chat for me to see, put them in the Q&A so I'll get them. Okay. Oh, let me just break this down one more time in case people are like, show that one more time. Again, here's what's included: 4-week training videos with workbook, 2 live Q&A sessions with Eric and Mike, comprehensive business assessment, leader mastermind group, early bird before the 21st, you get that extra Zoom Q&A with us. And of course, if you sign up now before I finish this webinar, you'll also get a team call from me. And again, the price is a very modest $297 your tuition to Teamzy Lead. Okay, so let's get in. There's the link again. Oh, that's not the right link. It's teamzy.com/lead. And again, if you are someone who wants to build a hugely successful team with heart, I hope you'll join us in Lead. Let's jump into Q&A. I got the wrong links there. It's okay, no big deal. Okay, so again, the link is teamzy.com/lead. All right, so we've got some questions coming in here, which is great. Somebody asks, oh, I just noticed this in the chat. I said I wouldn't look at the chat, but it caught my eye. Eric, have you and Mike written a book? Actually, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I did write a book called Power Hour Boss, which you can get on Amazon.com. Power Hour Boss. Okay, let's get in here to Q&A. There's a, I don't know what that is. There's a downloading bar across the sea. There's a message box at the top of the slides. Oh, sorry, guys. Did that block it the whole way? Shoot. Oh, well. All right, so we got a bunch of those, a bunch of people telling me that. Okay, no worries. Can you remove that box blocking? Yep. Is this recording? Is this the recording to be available to review later? Yes, it is. Sarah says, for chemistry, I love the idea of doing one-on-ones or in-person coffee with new members. How do we manage something like that with large teams? Okay, well, that's great. So if you've already got a large team, Sarah, you know, it's going to be hard to do one-on-ones, but you can definitely get one-on-one with your leaders. And of course, you're going to now start doing it with new people as you go. But the biggest thing is you create it as a system. So you tell your leaders, here's what we're all going to start doing so that everybody's getting that same experience with their sponsor. Does that make sense? But and again, in Lead, we go deep into this, but there's lots of things you can do for chemistry with the team. One of the most basics is convention, getting people to convention and getting together as your team, having a dinner, getting people together at convention. I mean, the events are the number one best way, right, to connect. Local events are huge too, getting people to local events. But you can also do some fun stuff like just organizing outings, you know, organizing outings. And if you've got a large team that's in different parts of the country, this is one of my favorite things. I talk about this in Lead, is you can do an organized outing on a specific date and time, and then have leaders in different cities organize their local event, right? So let's say you all watch a movie, you know, you're all going to see a movie together, and you know, people in Chicago are watching it, people in Milwaukee are watching it, people in California are watching it. Makes sense? So it's kind of like a team thing, and you can build it up in your social, in your group. There's lots of ways you can get kind of excited and have some fun with this, if that makes sense, to build that. Okay, Netta says, suggestions for building camaraderie and community when my best team members are in different states. I think I just answered that, Netta. That was a good one. Of course, you know, having a great Zoom call, and those of you guys are still here, you're going to get that, you're going to get my agenda for having a great Zoom call. That helps. The Zoom calls help, but you need to connect more than that. It needs to be more than the Zoom calls, right? So having some fun events, things like that are great. And of course, I mentioned, Netta, if you can get in person at convention, that's killer. Marilee says, I love bootcamp and all your training, and I'm seriously considering Teamzy Lead, but I'm fairly new, don't have any team members, and very few customers. Should I enroll now, or should I wait till I have a bigger business? That is a great question. I hope you're still here to hear it, because I think it's a perfect timing. So let me just talk about this concept, because Marilee, you're in the business because you want to build a team and you want to be successful, right? So rather than trying to build a team, not knowing what to do, right? And then relearning everything that you've put in place for several months, figure it out as you're starting, lay the foundation for great leadership. Does this make sense? And I was just talking about this the other day when we started Teamzy. You know, Teamzy was an idea. It was self-financed. We didn't have investment. You know, we built the all the programming, you know, based on my sketches in a notebook. But at the same time, we spent time getting attorneys to draw up the shareholders agreements and the legal things. Why? Because I fully expected this to be a multi-million-dollar business. Even though I had no idea where my first customer would come from, I expected to be a multi-million-dollar business. So I didn't wait until I had customers to figure that stuff out. I figured it out before we started. Does this make sense? And that's what I recommend for you. Yeah, jump in. You know, jump in. You're going to learn great stuff that you can implement with people with your first person, which is pretty cool. Okay. She also asks, when does Lead start? So registration actually opened today. So you guys can register today. It's only open this week, and then it closes. Then we go into prep week, and then the actual week one, day one of Lead is May 3rd. Okay, May 3rd. So that's when the first week of lead starts. Okay. All right. And Chantel asked the same question. When does it start? So it's going to start on May 3rd. And the way it works, if you've never been in one of our programs, is it's self-led, which means the video will unlock on Monday and Wednesday of each week. And you can watch it whenever you want. I know you're on different time zones or whatever. It just unlocks and then you can watch it and you'll have a downloadable workbook that you download to take the trainings, right? And then we interact live in the mastermind group, like whenever you can. Right? So we're not all in there at the same time. It's a Facebook group. So we interact every day. We want to interact with you every day in there, but it's when you can get in there and post and comment and whatever. Okay. Ashley asked the same question. When does it start? And again, May 3rd is when it starts, but registration is right now. You need to get registered this week. It will close and you won't be able to get in there. What are the dates for this first round? Also, I want you guys to know this isn't like boot camp that we do back to back to back. This is a special program. We might do it one more time in 2021. I don't know yet if we're going to do it a second time. I think we will probably later in the year, but it's not like if you miss this round, you're going to be waiting a while. Okay, Maria asked the same question. I love that you guys are asking me that question. Will the trainings be recorded? Yeah, so I just answered that for Cherie. They're pre-recorded and they're in there. Now, the live trainings, the live Q&As that we're going to do, those are usually in the evening, and those will also be recorded if for some reason you can't get on those live. Okay. Julie says, I'm a pro at recruiting customers, but not so much at recruiting business builders. Will this help me? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the thing is that we just talked about this in our bootcamp group too, which is if you're great at recruiting customers and not business builders, then you're not presenting the business enough, right? And so you love your product. So the question is now is how to look for those leaders. And one of the things we're going to teach you is how to identify leaders and maybe even amongst your customers, if that makes sense. So those people aren't a lost opportunity. Those people who maybe could have been team members but dropped in the customer bucket, a lot of those people might still be great team members. Okay, so we haven't given up on them. All right, Corey asks, what days and times will this be held? So again, it's 4 weeks long, beginning on May 3rd. The week before May 3rd, April 26th to May 3rd, is prep week. So we'll just be kind of getting ready. That's when you'll be completing your business assessment and getting things lined up so that on May 3rd, we can start the training. And again, the trainings are self-taught. So as whatever time of day you need to, you can plug into those. Okay. Daryl, will we have continuous access to this training in the university? And Daryl, just like the art of conversations. Nope, this one is like boot camp where you'll have access for a period at the end of the course, and then it will turn off. Again, this is an action-oriented course. And so when we do an action-oriented course, we limit access because we don't want people to put it off. Does that make sense? We want you to get in there and do it. Okay. But of course, as always, Daryl, you know, you've been in boot camp a bunch of times. You'll have your workbook. You'll have all the content that you can carry with you. Okay. You guys know the questions to ask. How long will we have access to the content after the 4 weeks is over? Barb asks. You'll have it for an additional month. So you'll have 4 weeks and then an additional 30 days. Okay. So you'll have it for 8 weeks. Carol says, no doubt at all, this is a tremendous value. I hope it's available at a later date when I'll be able to take it. Well, it will definitely be available again at some point, Carol. I just can't tell you exactly when. You know, and you've got a week of registration, open registration, to take a look and see if you'll be able to join us, but hopefully you will. We would love to have you. Nick, how do we get the PDF to learn how to run a better team meeting? Nick, we'll email that out to you. So tomorrow we'll send out an email with that PDF. Cool. Jillian, I love the fact that almost everybody's name, the people I know, this is fun. Jillian says, what are your thoughts on the rule of 80-20, 80% of your personal business, 20% on your team? Well, the rule of 80-20 applies to lots of stuff. And where it pops into my head is that 80% of your business will come from 20% of your team, right? So 80% of your business will come from 20% of your team. That's an important kind of number to remember too, as we're looking at one of the things we'll talk about in Lead is how to determine who deserves more investment of time and energy. But as far as 80% of your personal business, 20% on your team, the question is that time or is that intention? So to be a great leader doesn't require a massive amount of time. It just requires intention and focus. Does that make sense? And you guys know I love the power hour concept. The book I wrote is called The Power Hour Boss. Teamzy is based around getting things done in an hour. So it's about focus. And, a laser is more powerful than a spotlight, right? So I definitely, I don't think I disagree with you, Jillian, but I don't know if that's the right question. I think the question is, what intention and focus does leadership on the team deserve? Okay. Marilee says, I'm here. Great. I am glad you're here, Marilee. I'm glad you got the answer to your question. Rachel says, what are the dates for the live Q&A? We don't have those yet. Mike and I still have to negotiate times with our calendars, but very soon we will post those. And for those of you guys who've already signed up, I know a bunch of you have already signed up. I see the names coming in. We'll post those in the group very soon. Once I get them ironed out with Mike, we'll put them in as events in the group, so you'll know exactly when and you can plan for those. Netta says, I agree with learning to build a team with even just one recruit. I've wasted my first year by not motivating and leading my first 10 recruits. Amen, sister. Amen. Okay. Daryl says, are you still going to be doing the boot camp simultaneously? We won't be doing a boot camp during that month, Daryl. Mike and I are going to be focused on lead. So there'll be a break. The next boot camp will be after lead concludes. Good question though. Beth, will you be having a boot camp soon? So there's your answer. And I don't have the date off the top of my head, but so it ends in May. The end of May is the end of, so it'd be in June would be our next boot camp. But yes, keep an eye out for that. We'll be doing another boot camp in June. Okay. Amy says, how or when are you going to schedule the personal team calls for those who signed up before lead, before the end of the Zoom? Well, what I do is it's real simple. Is I send you guys an email that says, congratulations, here's the link and here's the date and time. Okay. So that's how we're going to do it. So once you guys, for everyone who signs up here, well, actually for that bonus Zoom, it's everyone who signs up before the 21st of April. So again, we'll get the list and we'll send it to you and we'll say, here's the private Zoom link and you guys jump on and that's how you do it. Okay. And also we do record that for you. So if for some reason you can't make it, we'll send the replay to you. And it's just kind of like one of those unmarked videos that you'll have access to. Okay. Hopefully that helps, Amy. Melissa says, will it be beneficial to be signed up with Teamzy for organizing and managing day-to-day? It's not just beneficial, it's essential. So Melissa, you need to have a Teamzy subscription to do lead. Teamzy is kind of like the foundational tool that we use to build everything on. And you'll actually need a Teamzy account to access the portal. So you'll definitely want to be using Teamzy. One of the things we'll tell you in prep week, because about a third of everybody that joins our trainings are brand new to Teamzy every time. So prep week will be where you get your Teamzy set up if you're not already using Teamzy, where you get your account dialed in. If you need help from my staff, you'll schedule an appointment so they can walk you through it so that you can be organized. But for those of you guys who are who've been using Teamzy, let Melissa know. Let Melissa know how it's impacted you and how she needs to get going with Teamzy. But definitely you'll need to do both. Get a Teamzy subscription and then sign up for lead. Okay. Eric, is there a downloading Teamzy lead webinar box? Oh, sorry. I went up high. I'm really sorry about that, you guys, that was there. Okay. Steve says, I have not taken boot camp. Should I do that first? No, you don't need to do it first. In fact, I mean, you'd have to wait months to take lead if you did that. So if you haven't taken boot camp, that's okay. In fact, it's not just a follow-on for boot camp people. It's a totally different area. Now, one of the things that we do in boot camp is we help you get consistent doing your daily activities, which, so that's going to be a focus for you, Steve, is making sure that you're really doing your best to get into Teamzy every day and doing your reach outs and connecting with people. Because one of the things I'm going to talk about a lot is how we need to lead by example. Here's the good news though. Here's one of the things I love is that it's really hard to be consistent. But when you're a leader, it's much easier. Just like when you're a parent, it's easier to be better, right? Because their kids are watching, you want to set a good example. When you're a leader, it's easier to be consistent because you're setting an example for others. So it's a gift. Having people on your team is a gift to help you be better, which is really cool. Karen said, did I hear you say we have availability of bootcamp videos for 30 days after this week? So, well, I was talking about lead. So in lead, at the end of lead, you'll have 30 days access. Okay. We do the same thing for boot camp though. At the end of our boot camps, you have 30 days additional access to the training videos. That's to give you a little, the idea here is that if something happens in life that makes you fall behind a week or something, you have that flexibility to catch up, right? So it's not rigid where life can't set you sideways, but we also want to give you some positive pressure to get it done and to get into action instead of putting it off, right? Instead of putting it off. Okay. I'm losing my voice. Stephanie Mitchell says, will lead touch upon Facebook group chats? Meaning my upline has a Facebook group chat that only a handful of people chat on, even though there are 50 plus people in the chat. Will we specifically touch on that? No, I wasn't planning on, but I mean, this is an example, Stephanie, of what the live Q&As are like. Right. So in a live Q&A, we start a conversation like that. Like, here's what we're doing. And then the conversation live Q&A can go down that road. We could get deep into it, and we could get the not just Mike and I, what we think about it, but we could also get other leaders like, oh, here's how we're doing it. Here's how we got engagement in that. Does that make sense? So, it's all about, and there's so many different principles that we went through some of them today, but it's looking at systems like that and saying, okay, well, how does this demonstrate my care for people? Or does this show that I'm engaged with them? Or sometimes we do things because it's convenient for us, right? So we need to look at things and go, am I doing this because it's convenient to me, but is it convenient to them? Like, it's got to be a win-win. Does that make sense? Hopefully that answers your question a little without answering it. Karen says, thanks so much. We had a disaster last week and I need to go over last week again. No worries, Karen. No worries. Heidi says, roughly how long would the lead videos be each week? Okay, great question. Typically, they're about 15 minutes, though there's a couple that are closer to 30. So that's the top end. Does that make sense? So it just depends. There's a couple where there was no way I had to get to present that idea. I had to go a little bit deeper. But I think the average length is like 15, 16 minutes. There's a couple that are maybe a little bit longer. Okay. Definitely doable. Definitely doable, even for you busy people. Now, a couple of you may be like, oh my gosh, how will I ever fit something else in? My life is so crazy. The thing about this is a program like this, especially this one, is that by investing that little bit of intentional time, it's going to give you so much peace in your headspace, right? Because you're learning, you're implementing a plan, you're building systems. Those are designed to take the overwhelm away, to take that feeling of like, oh my gosh, away. And then you get to a place where it's like, okay, this is great. These are the things I need to achieve. These are the systems I need to build. Every time I implement a system, it's easier the second time, easier than that the third time, easier than that the fourth time, right? Then a new person comes in, it's like, here's all the systems that we have on our team, and here's why we have them. This builds connection, this builds community, this builds camaraderie, and it's easy to do. So let's look at your calendar and let's plan out when you're going to do these things. Does it make sense? So it becomes something you can duplicate. So hopefully that was really helpful. I can't wait to go through and read all of the comments that you guys left in the chat. But I really hope that this was helpful to you, not just the little bit of content I was able to share tonight, but I know a lot of you have been really looking forward to this leadership program. And we're excited to lead you through it. Those of you who've been through our boot camps, we're going to bring our heart to this. This is something that is probably our most passionate area, and I'm excited to share it with you. So hopefully you'll all, if you're thinking about doing it, just do it. Just get it done right now. Get that extra bonus call. You can still have a minute to do it before I hang up. And if you're not sure yet, go to teamzy.com/lead. There's more information on that page, teamzy.com/lead. You can learn a little bit more about it. Just remember that registration does close next Monday. So you have just 7 days to sign up for this, and then it's closed. So hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you guys for spending some time with me tonight. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.